What if I told you that something as ordinary as the female nipple holds secrets that science is only beginning to understand? From psychology to biology, culture to instinct, there is more than meets the eye. Today, we're uncovering the hidden truths behind this overlooked yet powerful part of the female body. Stick around, because what you learn might change how you view attraction, identity, and even evolution itself. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon, because this is just the beginning of a fascinating journey into the mind and body. Evolution shapes female nipples. The female nipple isn't merely a feature for breastfeeding, it's a window into human evolution. In early human societies, reproductive cues were crucial. Unlike other primates, women's reproductive cycles are hidden. This evolutionary concealment led to other indicators, like breasts and nipples, serving as constant sexual signals rather than time-specific ones. From puberty onward, female nipples grow more prominent, both in size and pigmentation, partly due to hormonal influence. This visibility is theorized to subtly communicate fertility and health, both of which are deeply rooted in evolutionary mate selection. But it's not all about biology. Evolution also shaped how nipples are perceived. Societies over centuries have been drawn to this trait, not just for its reproductive value, but because of the emotional and physical intimacy it represents. Touch, sensitivity, and bonding all factor into nipple-related behavior, from breastfeeding to romantic interaction. Research in evolutionary psychology shows men and women unconsciously gauge physical cues, including nipple visibility or contour, when assessing health and attractiveness. While that may sound primal, it's simply how humans have survived and thrived, by identifying the best reproductive partners through subconscious signals. So when we consider female nipples, we're not just looking at anatomy, we're witnessing a million-year message coded into our species. The next time you think of attraction or beauty, remember, evolution plays a deeper role than we might want to admit. Cultural power signals. Throughout history, female nipples have been cultural battlegrounds, sometimes revered, sometimes hidden. In ancient civilizations like Egypt or Greece, depictions of women with exposed breasts were symbols of fertility, motherhood, or divine femininity. Fast forward to the modern West, and the same image might be censored or stigmatized. This contradiction reveals how culture reshapes perception. In many conservative societies, covering the female body, including nipples, became associated with modesty, morality, and virtue. Meanwhile, countercultural movements like the 1960s and the current Free the Nipple campaign challenge those norms, claiming autonomy over female bodies. Why does this matter psychologically? Because culture programs the mind. The way society views nipples affects how women view themselves. For some, this creates shame or hyperawareness. For others, empowerment or pride. From fashion choices to breastfeeding in public, women constantly navigate unspoken rules tied to this small body part. And what's fascinating is that these rules change not just by region, but by context. A woman's nipple in a magazine ad versus in a maternity ward carries vastly different social interpretations. So the next time we see a woman adjust her clothing or express discomfort about showing too much, know that it's not just personal, it's cultural code in action. Understanding this helps us be more thoughtful, respectful, and even protective of personal dignity and freedom. Brain-sensory connection. The female nipple is not only an evolutionary or cultural artifact, it's also a neurological powerhouse. The nerve endings in the nipple connect directly to the brain's pleasure and bonding centers. Neuroscience shows that stimulation of the nipple activates the same regions as genital stimulation, particularly the somatosensory cortex. This connection explains why the nipple plays a role far beyond breastfeeding. In romantic relationships, nipple play can enhance arousal and deepen emotional connection. Oxytocin, known as the love hormone, is released, promoting bonding between partners or between mother and child. But psychology goes deeper. The brain doesn't only respond to touch, it also reacts to anticipation and exposure. Just the thought or sight of nipples, especially in intimate contexts, can activate emotional and arousal pathways. That's why modesty, fashion, or perceived exposure can spark such intense reactions, both from the wearer and the observer. Moreover, some women report heightened confidence or emotional power when acknowledging or embracing their body, including their nipples. This is no accident. When we own our biology, we reclaim how our brains process identity and pleasure. In short, the brain's link to the nipple is not trivial. It's hardwired, multi-purpose, and deeply tied to our human experience, from intimacy to identity and expression. In modern psychology, the female nipple has emerged as a symbol of autonomy and identity. Whether in art, protest, or personal choices, women use this part of the body to challenge norms and express themselves. For example, topless protests across the globe, especially in places like Ukraine, France, and the US, highlight how the nipple can be a tool of resistance. The message isn't just about exposure, it's about control. Who decides what is decent, obscene, or acceptable? In transgender psychology and gender studies, nipples take on new significance. Trans women often focus on nipple development during hormone therapy, while top surgery in trans men alters how they view their bodies. The nipple becomes symbolic, not just of gender, but of transformation and self-perception. Even in fashion and media, women make calculated decisions around cleavage, bralessness, or body contouring. These choices are expressions of personal identity as much as they are style. And in an age of social media, where image is currency, the nipple becomes a silent but potent communicator of personality, confidence, and values. By recognizing the nipple as more than sexual or maternal, we embrace its role as a canvas for self-expression. Psychology reminds us that identity isn't only about what we say, it's about how we present ourselves, and even what we choose to conceal or reveal. Attraction's silent signal. Why are female nipples so influential in attraction, even when not directly visible? The answer lies in subtle cues. Tight clothing, body temperature, or implied exposure can trigger intense subconscious interest. According to psychological studies on arousal and facial focus, attention to the chest area often happens automatically, even in brief glances. But it's not just about sex. These cues relate to fertility, health, and emotional openness. What's especially interesting is how women use or neutralize these signals depending on context. Date night versus office meeting, for instance. The mind tracks not only visibility but intent and contextual appropriateness. This makes the nipple a fascinating study in nonverbal communication. It speaks without words, and the psychology of attraction is based largely on these silent signals: what's shown, what's hidden, and what's suggested. Moreover, many women report feeling either empowered or objectified depending on how these signals are perceived. That's why mutual respect and awareness are crucial. Attraction isn't just instinct, it's also interaction. Recognizing the psychological power of the female nipple helps us approach attraction with both honesty and empathy. So, what seems like a small detail, the female nipple, actually tells us volumes about evolution, culture, identity, and psychology. It's not just a body part. It's a symbol, a sensor, and sometimes a silent voice. If this episode opened your eyes or changed your perspective, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone curious like you. Comment below what surprised you the most, or what topic we should uncover next. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the most powerful truths are hiding in plain sight.